Hi there guys, how's it going? So we have a few new options for things you can potentially purchase in the shop today. We have a 7-star illustrated Aqua B, which is of all the tier 6 medals that they're potentially going to re-release as one of these bait banners, if you will. I would say this is probably top 3 of the tier 6. They could go ahead and release some tier 6 primes later on, which are probably going to be worth pulling more than this one, but although it is very tempting, and we'll talk about it in a second, I think you should still skip a bit. Anyway, we have some avatar boards here, which we can take a look at as well. It's really interesting because these boards are released exactly the same time as they are in the Japanese version. Sometimes in the past, where they would release identical boards, like in terms of appearance, they might have different skills attached to them just because our games would be at different levels, but given that we are exactly at parity nowadays, the skills inside them are identical. Well, I guess identical in terms of performance, not name. We got a good naming system where we have like attack boost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. Unfortunately, they got attack boost S, like for small, medium, large, SML, and then XL is their attack boost 4, and then they went attack boost 4, 1, so attack boost XL 1, 2, 3, 4. I think they're up to now. Just thank you lucky stars if you play global that you got this, because it's a lot more easier to understand. Anyway, in terms of the skills that they have inside this avatar board, we have attack boost 7 max and special attack gauge 1. Definitely the best skill of the board. If you had like Sora and Simba, Bob and Jack, or any of the really high powerful but high cost medals, a definite contender for that because it's super powerful for super cheap. It can make your really high powered medals actually regain gauges for you if it's one of the ones that like cost 6 but give you back 3. This would be a medal that is really expensive but then also gives you back 2 gauges, which could be really cool. Attack boost 7 and Lux Plus, which unfortunately I look at a skill like this and I go, okay, that's completely worthless, because let's say we do PvP nowadays, which is such a dominant force in the content. You wouldn't want to risk this. You only have 5 tries a day. It's not like you would, trying to beat content back in the day where you would just run it over and over and over again until you got all the RNGs going the correct way for you. In this case, you only have 5 or 10 chances a day, depending on if you're a VIP payer or not, and it's not worth the risk because it only has a pretty, okay activation rate, and yeah, I don't really buy it. Even if you were going to use it for raiding, I think we've done the math before and found out that even attack boost 5 max and Lux Plus, or even better, Lux Plus Plus at this point, would be far more beneficial to you than a medal like this, just because the amount of times that attack boost 5 max would trigger, or any of the maxes would trigger, outweighs the amount of times this one would trigger. Even though obviously when this one does trigger, it hits harder, that is, all the benefit you get from that is a loss in the times that it doesn't trigger, and you can just base it on averages, how often it will trigger, and find out pretty easily that the 100% one is the way to go. That's weird. And finally, defense boost 5 max. Sorry, defense boost 5. So that one wipes off 90% of the damage taken by you, which is just ridiculous. Only a little bit of an improvement from defense boost 4 though, because defense boost 4 gets rid of 87.5, so it's a 2.5% increase. For the absolute up top levels of PvP, yeah, you might want to consider this, but if you've recently decked out yourself with defense boost 4 max from the 3 HPO avatar boards, you probably don't need to go upgrading this, because you would never replace it, definitely not. I've seen some setups that run both though, DB4 max and defense boost 5, which is definitely an option. I've definitely gotten bodied by like a lot of setups that do DB4 max and defense boost 5, and given that defense boost 5, I think right now if you're at a skill perk of like plus 32, which I calculated it for plus 32, given its own natural trigger rate of 39%, if you add the plus 32 to that, it ends up being like just over 50. I think it's 51.5% trigger rate. It's not exactly like plus. Anyway, it's over half activation rate, so that's pretty good. It's pretty decent. Overall, though, I probably wouldn't get it. Like, speaking of skill perks, for whatever reason, they give you skill perk plus 2 for this eye patch, which, given that you can only equip 5 accessories, I mean, I can show you if you like. I can show you my character here, for example. Like, the poor Abomination is there because it's got skill perks on all of the different parts, and given that you can only have 5, if I were to replace any with that skill perk plus 2, I'd actually be losing skill perk because all of mine have, at the very minimum, 3. So I'm not really sure what the goal is there, maybe for people that didn't get the helmet, but even then, I'm sure there are other parts that could give you more than plus 2. It's really, really bizarre to release a plus 2 perk at this late in the game. Anyway, let's talk about the actual medal itself, so illustrated Aqua B. Alrighty, so I can go ahead and show you the graph for the Aqua B I was talking about just now, and let's have a quick peek here. I'm going to zoom in again to tier 5, 6, and 7 because they're the most relevant ones. We're talking about single target medals right now with an 80% guilt boost. Illustrated Aqua B sits just underneath Illustrated Goofy and Illustrated Donald as the most powerful of the tier 6 medals. The unfortunate reality is though, there are hardly any tier 6 medals that are single target at all. I only count 6 in that list because you can see Aqua and Stitch is listed there twice. Though it is a very, very powerful medal. If you take a look literally just to the left in terms of power, Roxas Prime, Roxas and Xion Prime, and it should be on there, but it's not. The Roxas vs Riku medal is sitting directly to its left at only a slightly weaker amount of power. And of course, Prime medals are superior to their non-Prime counterparts, just because you can add up to 2,000 additional strength from it. When you pull from the banner, you get up to 5 traits with it if you're going to go ahead and do a 5-pull Mercy, which of course can further increase the power of that medal. When you consider this banner right now, consider that you're not getting additional, you're not going to get 5 pulls with it, you're only going to get the Mercy for the medal itself, and it won't come with any trait medals or whatever else along the way. It will just have more room for less desirable medals. It'll have, you know, the one guaranteed tier 5 with the skill attached to it, and the rest could be, you know, whatever generic trash usually. So again, in my opinion, as always, it's definitely better to skip this banner. Tier 6s will come out, but I think they're trying to test the water right now in terms of what the player base will actually fall for, if you will. I don't know why they keep releasing banners like this, but in my opinion, it's like, great, 3 more days where I don't have to worry about anything in the shop because this is complete bait. It is definitely tasty bait. Again, it is one of the best tier 6 medals. If you were going to go ahead and look at medals to upgrade of your tier 6s, this would literally be third on my list. Well, there are copycat medals as well, but in terms of non-copycat medals, this is top 3 for me. If you missed out on Illustrated Goofy, Illustrated Donald from the High Score Challenge, this is the medal to upgrade first if you have it tier 6. And again, Antiform Sora would be probably actually first, given that it's a copycat medal, but yeah. Anyway guys, in terms of new content, we got the rest of the days added to the Summer Adventure Proud mode, as well as some new days added to the Summer Adventure Critical mode, which is the very, very first time we've had a Critical mode set of quests before. It has some actually decent rewards, like there are brooms and mirrors and all kinds of stuff in there. Obviously a lot of experience medals, but I'm actually kind of enjoying this Critical quest more than I thought I would. It doesn't have the same restrictions of the Proud mode, where you have to use X amount of like really particular medals, but it's like your most powerful medals on a time limit. I actually kind of like that. You're locked into a particular Keyblade, and it is definitely more difficult than the usual content, but I don't know, it's kind of like a test of your most powerful medals, not your range of medals that Proud mode usually is, where it's like, I hope you picked up that particular medal that deals 8+ hits and has, you know, 3 gauges or whatever. This is just, what is the most powerful stuff you have? Complete this content as quickly as possible. I do quite like that. I was actually in a podcast today. I was invited on to Lost Predictions podcast with the Erroneous One, Iceberg, and a few other awesome people, Proper Artist Badger, and Kuda, if I'm forgetting someone else, but we talked about the possibility of a critical mode coming into the regular version of the game, and potentially, you know, that might be a really good way of introducing more content, more ways, like another source of jewels into the game. You know, you could have a story update, a Proud mode update, and a critical update once a month, you know, and space out the jewel rewards a little bit more, and have some pretty good rewards featured for the nearly 800 quests that we have right now. So I'm definitely hoping for that. Maybe JP 3rd anniversary could see something like that. This is complete speculation on my part, but do let me know what you think, if you would enjoy something like that. Anyway guys, I'm going to leave you with that. You're all up to date now, so I'll see you guys when we have something else to talk about. All the best, and good luck with your rating. All the best. Bye.